Award-winning news team, Lynn Brooks, Terry Brewer, weather with Richard Scott, and sports with Gary Harris.
We're glad you're with us this evening. I'm Terry Brewer. Lynn Brooks will join us in just a moment. Tonight, we're looking back at a somber day in the history of Tuscaloosa. Wednesday, April 27th at 5:13 p.m., an EF4 tornado ripped through the heart of the city, killing dozens of people and destroying hundreds of homes and businesses. 52 people have now died from injuries related to the storm. On that day, we were watching the storm with you as the tornado roared into the city. Here's a look at what happened as we were on the air.
North of the interstate.
Along with our viewers, we watched a massive tornado take shape live on the air from the WVUA tower camera. This view is from high above the University of Alabama's Reese Pfeiffer Hall. You can see the twister makes an ominous sight. It seems to hover over Bryant-Denny Stadium.
A very large tornado on the ground right now.
Then, in a heartbeat, we were knocked off the air. With my own video camera, I climbed 4 flights and stood at a window facing the stadium. The tornado looked like it was skirting the spiral. You can see the debris flying from the sides. When this came closer, that's when I ducked into a stairwell. Minutes after the storm passed, sirens were screaming on McFarland Boulevard. People emerged from the rubble and started roaming into the streets.
Weird, just bad. Everything got destroyed, tornadoes and stuff with the tornadoes. It's been bad.
Some bringing the little they have left, some asking why, and others wanting more than ever just to hold on to someone they love. This man fell to his knees and began to pray. He later told us, had it not been his day off, he would have been working inside this restaurant. Thankful to have his life, he was saying out loud, "Oh Lord, please help us." Others heard his plea and joined the prayer.
I'm really counting my blessings.
Rita Sturdivant is alive because her office closed early.
This was my desk. That's my computer. Right there, that was my file cabinet.
With little direction in sight, at least some are able to focus on the future.
Praise God.
That report was filed by our Lynn Brooks back on April 27th. She joins us now with more as we continue looking back at the day Tuscaloosa was forever changed. Lynn?
Thank you, Terry. And the strength of the city lies inside its people. One person who has certainly been out front leading the city through the recovery has been Tuscaloosa's Mayor Walt Maddox. He joined us live, and we are so glad you're with us today, Mayor Maddox. And
thank you for having me.
It's certainly difficult 6 months away just to look at some of those images.
As we were discussing off air, that's the first time I've seen that news report filed, because for 7 or 8 days we never saw any of the coverage. We were just working constantly.
So this is your first time to really see
the
what
news
other
coverage.
people at home were seeing.
That's right. And to see those images brought back really just some memories that I think a lot of us would like to forget, but also some memories I think we should celebrate. The resiliency of our citizens, how we came together in a very powerful way to really determine our own fate, that we wouldn't be defined by what happened on April 27th.
And I know today we're going to talk, of course, a lot about the recovery, where we've gone these past 6 months. But before we do that, to help us appreciate how far we have come in 6 months, I want to take a look back and just tour with you, Mayor Maddox, some of these communities and just get your take on some of these images. This first video, this is from the Rosedale Court area.
Mm-hmm. Well, in Rosedale, we had a large number of children that died in that area, and that's something that holds strong with me. In fact, some of the very powerful images, my first powerful images of the storm taking place, are memories directly related to Rosedale. In Forest Lake, again, that's something that today we still look at, and getting the lake clean is something we're still working towards. Mm-hmm. But again, to see a neighborhood that I'm so familiar with, because that's where I go to church, to see it devastated obviously had a lot of personal impact on me.
And a lot of people mentioned Forest Lake as being one of the more difficult, the lake itself being one of the more difficult things to pass by, because it is such a staple of the community. This one, Cedar Crest, this is a neighborhood right off of McFarland Boulevard.
This is one of the first neighborhoods we actually saw when taking a look about 5:30 at the damage, knowing that a large student population was at risk and housing that was probably built sometime in the 40s and 50s. We knew very well that it was going to be a lot of death and destruction in that area.
And right in the heart of the city, you know, we've seen also Alberta City impacted terribly.
Well, Alberta and Holt really got if there is a major impact of the storm, because by the time it hit Alberta, the tornado had grown to 6,000 feet wide. And so it was hitting its full fury by the time it hit Alberta, and especially as it came across the hill and then went into Holt. The fact that we only have, and I hate saying that, 52 fatalities is really amazing, because there were 15,000 people who were in the direct path of that storm.
And here in Alberta, you had a precinct that was hit, and also a school that was hit in that area.
Yes.
So not just residential homes, but also schools.
Well, one of the amazing stories that we need to do a better job of telling is the work of our city employees. We lost our 2 communication towers, $40 million worth of facility, 10% of our fleet, and we were responding under these conditions. But our staff, from incident command on down throughout the field, from police, fire, and every department involved, did an amazing job that day, and I think held it together so that we did have a confident hope that we would indeed recover. I couldn't believe, if you would have told me 6 months ago to the time and date that we would be 99% through debris removal, I wouldn't believe you. The first estimates coming out were 12 to 15 months.
And looking at the video that we just saw, it's even more incredible to think. I mean, when you look at this, you can't, as a human being, you can't help but think, this is never going to, you think, this is how are we going to dig out from underneath this?
Yes, but our citizens led the way. We followed. I mean, one of the stats I love to talk about is on April 27th at 5 o'clock, the city had never served one meal in its history. By April 29th at 5 o'clock, we'd served over 30,000 meals at 8 humanitarian aid stations.
So aid was coming in quick.
Coming in quick, in great coordination with the federal government and the state government. And really, again, the people of this city rose to such a high level. We had no choice but to follow.
And we're going to pick up right there where we're leaving off in just a couple minutes. But for now, back to Terry.